experience with one another, let alone plenty of experience as a whole, of course, in the competitive scene lately. With that said, it looks like both teams are ready. We have officially loaded into game number 1. So, Emperor, are you ready?
I am ready, Breaky. I'm not actually seeing the lock screen yet, though, or is it?
I got in just fine. So
Okay, I need
just,
to
in
I need to
case of
probably
reconnecting.
reconnect here. So.
Yeah, just in case of reconnecting. But,
Yep.
all right. Delaying everyone, Emperor. Thanks.
I know, like usual.
There you go. Looks like you are joining in now. All
Oh,
right.
yes.
Let's make this official. Hopefully you guys are ready to go. Once again, obviously you guys tuning in. So, because we got game number 1, let's take a look. We got Stay Green taking on Trademark Esports. Again, game number 1 here in this best of 3. Stay Green's actually going to be on the Legion side. Trademark Esports on the Hellborn side. And as you can notice, we are already in that lock pool stage. Wild Soul Moon Queen coming out from Stay Green. Wild Soul Fade coming out from Trademark Esports. So again, kind of a mix, but Wild Soul from both of these teams. Neither one wants to have to deal with that. Into the locks, though, you got your Keeper first. Tempest Zephyr to follow, actually. Ophelia Parasite. And then Bubbles. Talk about a strong lock pool there, Emperor.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much already see. It's interesting to see Zephyr locked in there. I don't think we'll see. I mean, I think only Parasite or Ophelia will get picked up. I think one of them will just sort of be left, unless they choose to leave the Tempest. I've seen that happen a couple times before too. But Minot's jungler of choice usually seems to be that Tempest. It seems to be what he's most known for, and he seems very comfortable against playing against Keeper too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, now into that banning stage. I mean, seeing a band like Demented Shaman there again, especially with Zephyr on the board. Don't want to have to deal with him. Deadwood going to be the first ban for tdM, and then Soul Reaper on top of that. And I know Stay Green that they do like to run that Soul Reaper every now and then, especially in certain matchups, specifically something like that Keeper of the Forest, as we've seen before. So, but interesting nonetheless there coming up from Trademark, using a ban on Soul Reaper, and then on top of that even going with a Rally ban. So no Deadwood or Rally going to be seen here from Stay Green specifically.
Yeah. I think that's actually a really good choice of bans against Stay Green. It forces them into a different strategy. Even if they're capable of playing a lot of things, a lot of their strategies have revolved around Deadwood, have revolved around Rally lately. So, make it mix up their game.
Mm-hmm. Now, it seems like, especially whenever there's an Ophelia in the lock pool, if a hero like Glacius makes it past that banning phase, his first pick potential becomes pretty damn strong. However, it is going to be passed up here. Pebble's going to be the first pick, then a very quick response over there of Wretched Hag, Master of Arms coming out for tdM. And again, there's that possibility. Master of Arms Ophelia combination. You got to always worry about that.
There is. Now I'm curious to see what they'll go with for their first pick out of the lock pool here for SG. Meanwhile, Fitzky is also known to play Master of Arms support, so Master of Arms not decisively being in that semi-carry role.
True. Yeah, very true. Very, very good point. tdM definitely has that. And Master of Arms, in terms of a hero, that's it, talk about Mr. Utility over here. I mean, he can really do it all from your pure support to your hard carry, as we've seen. So,
yeah.
Stay Green, though, obviously going to think about this one as they definitely should. I kind of wonder if that, as a captain, so say if you're Swinamelton's here, how quickly, my notes over here, the captain of tdM, how quickly he responded with his picks. Is that a little bit intimidating, knowing, how fast and decisive he was?
It definitely has an intimidation factor because it means they're going according to plan.
Yeah.
That was the 2 heroes they were planning on picking, and they weren't taken, so they're like, okay, if they pick this, we're going Master of Arms, so they're like, yes, it's like, we have your number right now, and now we put you on the back foot, what are you going to come back with? Mm-hmm. Can you guess our game?
Yeah, that's definitely something that could possibly be going through tdM's mind. So back over to Stay Green, their 2 final picks again. Putting plenty of extra time into this. Swinamelton's really thinking it out. Something like that Luna or perhaps that Glacius is what's standing out to me as a possibility here. Of course, Silhouette on the board. Oh, here we go, though. Remember yesterday, Arachna going to be picked up by Stay Green. We saw it yesterday played by Slicks. You talked about specifically for our Keeper of the Forest, being able to use that Hardened Carapace on activation when you get rooted, and it stops so much else after that.
Yeah.
Going to be going at it again here, and then the Glacius, sure enough, also picked up here.
Yeah. What was our jungler of choice that game, by the way? Did they have a Tempest?
I want to say it was a Tempest, but yeah, I'm not certain.
See, if they go Ophelia, they give him Keeper Tempest. If they go Tempest, they give him Keeper Ophelia potentially and run Master support. Yeah. So I don't know. It'll be.
That's so true. I mean, this is really going to be an interesting first pick here coming up from Swinamelton's because it's again picking the lesser of the 2 evils, kinda. And this is honestly, if you remember Game 1 of the Complexity Series yesterday with Stay, this is kind of what happened, remember? I mean, Stay Green set themselves up, more so the Beacon in that case kind of drafted very well, where it set up Swinamelons to make a very tough decision going into that lock pool. And I kind of think that's what we see here. But look at that.
Yeah.
They go with the Keeper. Now it is going to be interesting to see how tdM responds, though.
Yeah, if they go Tempest Ophelia, if they go something else, I mean, Parasite, if they Tempest Zephyr, that's a lot. I think that's actually really good for what they're planning on doing here. I'm actually curious to see whether they go with the Parasite or the Ophelia for their jungle. One cool thing about Parasite, it doesn't really matter that much, but his ultimate also does steal the Master of Arms Red Shield. Just a little bit of bonus help there.
That's true.
Piercing through it, so.
Yeah, that's very true.
Just a little bit, but.
Well, they are.
That's smarter.
It's hard to pass up Ophelia, man.
Yeah, Keeper Ophelia too, man. This is so much push. Great team fight. And I told you before, I like the Keeper Suicide. I'm not as much of a fan of Keeper Jungle. I see a lot of teams outside of tdM just don't seem to have the impact with it. Minot seems to be one of the most successful Keeper Jungles out there, but, you know, hey.
Now, what do you think of a Glacius Pebbles combination? It seems like, compare it to at least something like an Luna Pebbles or an Amphora Pebbles. How does a Glacius Pebbles work?
Glacius Pebbles is interesting because Glacius has so much lockdown, and Pebbles is so tanky that if they actually try to make a move on your Pebbles and do not kill him, you have a lot of turnaround potential there because of the massive amount of lockdown and follow-up coming out from Glacius, even more so than a Glacius and Luna sometimes. So, yeah, pretty good.
And then, of course, the Arachna, going to be played by Slicks. Again, if you were tuning into Honcast yesterday, this shouldn't be that much of a surprise to you because they did it yesterday against Complexity, as we were talking about, and it ended up working out very, very well. He got some crazy immense farm and became very hard to stop. So definitely interested to see how that plays out this time around. As far as tdM is concerned, yeah, the Zephyr pick, I can't say I saw it coming, to be honest, but with that pickup, it actually makes a lot of sense as far as how they're possibly going to lane it here, and it allows them to get the, as you put it, Midas was a great Tempest in that jungle, so it sets that up pretty comfortable. And of course, Zai on Wretched Hag, maybe Wretched Hag might not be the most ideal suicide for a lot of teams, but for tdM, it's perfect. I mean, Zai just plays it so well, as he's proven time and time again. So
yeah,
I don't expect anything fancy coming out of the landing phase here from tdM at least.
Yeah, looking at sort of hero counters or something, so to speak here, a lot of people say that Zephyr is very strong against Keeper of the Forest. You used to see heroes like Ra, Electrician, and Zephyr always being picked up. Maybe back, however long, a year ago or so, always to counter that Keeper. So Zephyr definitely very effective anti-push against Keeper. Doesn't really care about those minions. Very strong hero there. Arachna, however, you look at a lot of the dot damage coming out from Zephyr, the Cyclones, all that. He's able to very much reactively use that hardened carapace and mitigate a ton of that damage.
Right,
also, Hag. A lot of people think that, it's a blink hero. Very strong. Arachna is going to be very weak against Hag because she can blink away, but if Hag blinks in, uses her spells, and then she gets the spider on her, it is a lot of lockdown, and Hag is very vulnerable.
And the spider follows you, obviously, after a blink as well. It'll cut you down, and your chain slowed after that. So yeah, it's definitely can prove to be a very effective tool. But yeah, you're right. I mean, a lot of early on magic damage, especially coming out here from tdM between Zephyr and Wretched Hag, and even something like a Master of Arms, as he is going to be played support, as you brought up, being played by Fitsuke here. So sure, he might not be as farmed and maybe not the most levels compared to if he's playing that carry role, but nonetheless, going to be fine. Tempest actually despawning one of the trees right there, spawning some elementals, so that's going to kind of screw up Keeper of the Forest perhaps a little bit. But this is what I was actually going to bring this up to, but sure enough, we are going to see it, it looks like. What would be the possibility of seeing, well, are they going to pseudo-trilane? Because Ophelia is in her own jungle currently, and right now it's only a Glacius Pebbles up here with Keeper mid. Interesting. What is Stigrin thinking here?
Well, I think if they were... Okay, so right now, you see Ophelia and the... with Keeper mid, I guess they were just planning on manning up, thinking it'd be maybe the solo top, and they could just, control the lane, guarantee Pebbles that early farm. Meanwhile, if it was a strong dual range lane in mid, or the Zephyr lane, I don't know what they were really planning, but it wouldn't really... Keeper can survive just fine against it and get his levels. Zephyr can also really, really badly crush Keeper of the Forest. He's one of those matchups like Soul Reaper where Keeper just does not want to be in, so they didn't want to really put Keeper into that situation.
Interesting. So yeah, it looks like this is definitely shaping up to be what Stay Green was perhaps hoping for when it came to the laning phase. But the dangerous thing about this to me seems like isn't it as simple as setting Master of Arms top, as that's actually what he's doing right away. I mean, he's just going to start heading top. Then are you still good if you're Stay Green? It seems like that might become a little bit more difficult now here at the top lane.
Yeah, no, definitely will. They will get like the first wave advantage, at least resources that way. So, oh, let's see, Zephyr, did he actually get any? He actually got a couple creep kills there, so it actually won't be that much of an adjustment. Still, they do have lane control right now. They kept it back, but yeah, they do have to be careful because that Tempest can come out and gank. And actually, as far as vision is concerned, we don't have much of any, and they got the stack off. So.
Yeah, there's still 2 wards actually on Glacius. So I wasn't just. I know that he was hiding over here at the outpost, but I think that was simply because they just didn't want to give off what kind of laning phase that or what kind of lanes they were doing here. Now, interesting ward site right here. Look at where you just placed the first one in this hard camp, right next to the lane. So,
yeah.
What do you think the logic is there?
Well, I don't know. It's kind of weird because you actually can't see above there if Tempest takes the high route. So. I don't know how much I like it. I mean, I like that it sort of blocks the spawn maybe and can see over there. It might not be countered, but I feel like he could have just placed it a little bit over and actually seen the ganks coming from above too.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at too. It seems like it's kind of one of those like, okay, it's blocking, but it seems like he could have just moved it over a little bit and still would have accomplished the same thing and given you much more. So I don't know if that was maybe a misclick or something else in mind for Z-Freak right there. But he also does get another water sight down at the other camp. That one already has been double stacked, however. But Pebbles is actually going to go over there and, check to see what's happening. Maybe even to do it? No, they're just going to see if they maybe could have caught Tempest, I guess. But in the end, they're going to fall back. But they do block a couple of camps here now as a result. Yeah. So that will hinder Tempest farm, no doubt, quite a bit here. And again, it's going to kind of be interesting, but they still nonetheless have to worry about Tempest as far as setting up gank. But we do see right here, Stalagmite's going to come out because he got gusted in. Did Pebbles, of course. He's going to be fine in the end. But Zephyr showing that he can start playing more aggressive now, at least with that intimidation factor even.
Also, when Pebbles has that stun down, and you look at his mana pool, they know they can be aggressive with no retaliation.
Yep, he has the mana potion taken right now, so gonna get back up as far as his mana pool goes. But yeah, Zephyr should have a fairly good time now, especially after this adjustment, being played by Limp, of course, for Trademark Esports. Tempest nearby. Again, he's going to kill off the camp right here, but he'll probably realize very quickly that indeed it is blocked. But there's the lane pull as well on that double stack on the pull area. So sure, they got the water side down, but like I said earlier, they already got the stack off. So they're still able to take advantage of it, and the lane control once again going to go back in their favor. And this definitely all goes back to, you always like to try to focus that farm on Pebbles. But it doesn't seem like he is going to have the greatest time up here, honestly. As far as, if he's something like a 2-versus-1 mid, of course, or bottom even. But not to say that that's a bad choice by State Green as far as her lane positionings by any mean. But again, kind of just getting to the point that it's unfortunate. It even magnifies the fact that especially Ophelia, is going to need to have an impact here.
Yeah, I feel like Arachna getting a little bit outplayed on bottom here. Zai's actually out CSing him. Not that much, but still, you'd expect Arachna normally to do a little bit better. I think it'll take off as Arachna, especially if it gets closer to level 5. That's when you'll see more of that impact. But yeah, I don't think she had any pulled regen. She's just having to sort of do her own thing down here, and Zai playing it very well. Now that he's 5, though, I expect lane control to take over.
Yeah, well, and then again, there's that level 6 intimidation factor, of course. Stalagmite's going to be used here at the top lane on Master of Arms as they were diving Glacius a little bit, but he is going to be fine. Top rune is not going to spawn. It's going to be bottom, actually. It will be a haste, and it looks like Wretched Ag, who went the side lane bottle, will be able to bottle it up. So good for him, but look at Ophelia going pretty sneaky here. She does have a Skeleton King. She's looking to flank this Master of Arms Zephyr, but they're already falling back a little bit because of how far the lane is pushed up. But I don't think they know. This is just simply their positioning right now. This could set up pretty well for Stay Green. Again, no Bloodlust kill has come out just yet, as we're now 4.5 minutes into this game. So if Zephyr, and more so maybe even the Master of Arms, not careful, and again, I don't think they know. So here we go. Skeleton King coming in. Master of Arms realizing, oh crap, I'm in trouble. Here's Ophelia. No net just yet. The gust away. No net still coming out. Finally going to be used right there on the Master of Arms. Here comes the Stalagmite, and down goes Master of Arms. Bloodlust kill going in favor of Swinamel. It seems like that net took forever, but finally came out. However, level 6 Tempest coming over. Not going to ultimate, though. Again, he knows there's just too much CC nearby, and that'll be the end of that.
Yeah, very well played by SG. Nice pick off there. Resources still pretty equal. Silhouette is having the time of his life in mid. Keeper's not doing that bad, but yeah, overall the lanes are pretty neutral right now.
Yeah, again, the fact that Ophelia was able to sneak all the way up there without getting spotted that whole time, honestly, pretty impressive. So, and obviously that's eventually what set up the Bloodlust kill. So again, just good coordination, good job by Chessie specifically, coming out for State Green. Now look at this revelation here. The blue ward did of course counter ward the ward aside that was blocking that camp over there. So Minot's on the Tempest, taking care of that, as I'm sure that was annoying. I want to go back to this bottom lane real quickly. Arachna is level 6, by the way, so again, now she has that threat. But she did put a level into her Heart and Carapace. I know yesterday she did not because of the matchup, perhaps, but going against a Wretched Hag, who I assume is... No, she's actually leveling up the Sonar Screen, but nonetheless... has that Heart and Carapace, so maybe that was also affecting, you know, a little bit of her last hitting, of course, not as maximized potential.
Yeah.
But still.
I'm not sure if you saw it too, but I thought that Haste Rune might affect Arachna's lane control a little bit, but even with a full HP bar and a Haste Rune, I mean, he pretty much sent Arachna back to base in moments now after he hit level 5, so...
Oh, wow.
And now he hit level 6, so just a lot of lane control.
You look at that right there. Wretched Hag's like, yeah, you're level 6. I gotta be very careful now. And that's exactly what he started doing right there. So, yeah, great job by Slicks, and definitely expect his farm to really start increasing now. Already about 290 gold per minute. So when it mounts on Pebbles, again, I was kind of not, well, in a sense, worried for Stay Green's sake that his farm might not have been the greatest at the top lane, but he is up there with the tops in the game right now at 310, especially after that Bloodlust kill, no doubt helping. Double damage Glacius in the meantime, beating on the tower. As Keeper of the Forest was actually busy doing some single Ancients, so some good spread out right there coming up from Stay Green. Look at Lip at the top lane, though. He's diving beyond the tower, going to take the next creep wave. If he gets ported on, though, this could be dangerous. Keeper of the Forest does have a root coming in with the Invis. Not near any trees now, however, and so he's going to show himself, but... What was that?
Arachna did get a TP.
Oh, forced to TP out?
No, she did get a TP right now. She's got one delivered to her, so she has one ready.
Yes, she is ready to go. That's right. I thought you meant that Wretched Hag might have TP'd. Which, by the way, obviously, that is the big counter to Arachna. Good old Homecoming Stone, so can be for sure, as Wretched Hag will blink away. But, yeah, he is ready to TP, but Zephyr will fall back before any real pressure comes out. So Stay Green kind of just ultimately made a lane switch here, honestly, with Pebbles Glacius coming mid now. And Keeper of the Forest going to take over Suicide top.
Yeah, I like what they did, though. It definitely made sense for the timing.
What's down here? Oh, that's a Spiderling. It's chasing all the way into the pit.
Oh my god.
That's what I'm talking about.
He's relentless, man.
I love how it doesn't take tower damage either, so it just kind of runs on through everything as if it's hidden. But yeah, so as I was saying, though, I mean, we see right there, or at least can tell, that the Homecoming Stone was used by Wretched Hag as he got ultied. And that's how she got away. But if anything, she went back to base. It frees up even more farm for Slick. So, sure, it wasn't a kill, but it just gives them more free farm in the end. So, it's still well worth it. It's a very short cooldown, too, man.
Oh, it is. It is. And as you level, it goes down to 30 seconds at level 3, so...
That's insanely low. Holy crap. Yeah, I knew it was low, but I didn't think it was 30 seconds. And actually, 1125 physical damage or 80%. Jeez, at level 3, that is a really powerful ability.
Pretty much, like, stops them from attacking.
Yeah. That is damn powerful. Meanwhile, as far as good news for tdM, I mean, the gold per minute chart, I'm constantly going back to it as always. It's continued to be very even, honestly, between the two teams. It seems like it's slightly in favor of Stay Green, and obviously with the overall gold being 1,200 lead, that makes sense. But Zephyr's up there with the best at 322, and then you got Tempest following suit, and then Silhouette not having the worst time either, around 270 gold per minute. And what has been, for the most part, a fairly passive game, of course, as we're sitting here at a 1-0 hero kill in favor of Stay Green. So,
yeah.
Guess what? We have a passive game in the Grand Finals.
Yeah, who'd have thought? But I do like the positioning they're doing. I do like the lane swaps and the poking they're doing. So it's, you know, no kills yet, but I'm still impressed with the level of play coming out.
Oh, yeah, of course. And again, that's not to take away from the skill level, because it's a side that you can definitely appreciate, and if you realize exactly what's going on as far as just positioning, as far as knowing when to go in, not taking those huge risks at low rewards, and it is definitely entertaining to watch it, again, arguably two of the best teams out there right now play against one another constantly. So, yeah. And especially with so much on the line, once again, you can appreciate the fact that they are taking it somewhat passive. Helm of the Black Legion has been finished, though, on Zephyr, so... And actually going to gust in, Keeper of the Force right there, but I guess just for harassment. So what are we looking for here? I mean, really either side. Are there points where you see either side, starting to make something happen at this time?
Yeah, I mean, right now they're just looking for an angle. The lanes are sort of where they want it. Zephyr is pretty far pushed up. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a root and mass TPs coming out, but, I mean, they do have Tempest ready, so... They're not careful with those TPs and catch everyone in a nice hole into the Zephyr Typhoon, and a lot of damage coming out. You actually do see them shaping up top lane, though, here with Fitzy with that Haste Rune. Silhouette shaping up here as well, so...
Yeah, it's almost as if they're going to try to bait out some porting to come happening now. We'll see if that is the case. Do they have any revs? I don't believe they do. So Keeper the Force should get pretty free reign on setting rid of it if that's what they're going to go for. No, the tower looks like it's just going to fall. No defense put up. They're going to try to counter push in the meantime in the middle lane. They might be successful, but I'm guessing actually we're going to see TPs here from the Hellborn team. There's the invulnerability. No TPs just yet, actually. There's a TP to the secondary tower. Wretched X nearby. The tower will fall, though. Zephyr does commit. Stalagmites do miss right there as the blink came out. There's a Typhoon on top of the bypass, destroying Glacius as the rest of them will run away. Ophelia's minions might actually fall right here, unless she heals. Nope, not going to ute, though. As, oh, they're so low, man. They are so low. I guess they're going to barely survive, though. Nope, she denies one and denies the other.
Oh, my.
Okay.
Man, Chessie has a lot of composure. I mean,
yeah,
I was looking at its hero. It's like my finger wants to hit that R button just to cast the ulti for him, but he knows he just wants to save it for a potential fight coming up. He knows Bat Blast is down. Maybe he's like, okay, Bat Blast is down. My ulti's going to be up. I can grab some new creeps, and maybe this is our time to push bottom tower.
Yeah. Exactly, yeah, and that's you know, he's already got a Minotaur on top of the Vulture Lord, and there's the Skeleton that he had before, so just like that, and 2 more minions to go. 3 total. Not going to push the bottom tower just yet, though. There was a Whispering Helm just finished, by the way, on Slex. Again, this is what he did yesterday as well, if I remember correctly. So going more of that sit back and farm route, which he proved is definitely very effective, and he can make work. So, but yeah, they did use quite a couple of big ultimate cooldowns, as you're kind of mentioning there, Emperor, on just a Glacius skill. It was a Bat Blast and a Typhoon just to simply kill the Glacius. So you would think that maybe the Legion team would try to capitalize on that, but doesn't seem like anything too aggressive coming out for the time being, though.
Yeah. Just back to farming for now. I thought they might, try to make something happen in this window with Bat Blast being down, and Typhoon being down, and Ophelia's ulti being up, and 3 creeps towards bottom tower, and they are shaping up for it, but I would have been a little bit quicker about it if I was them.
Master of Arms is still level 4, man.
Yeah,
I mean, wow. It's 79 experience per minute. He's getting basically doubled by Glacius in experience per minute right now on the opposition, who's level 5 himself, actually. So that's a big deal. I mean, it's something we stress a lot about Master of Arms, especially if you're going to run him in the support role. At the very least, he still brings that Master's Call for you. Well, he still doesn't have it. Won't have it for a couple levels. Bottom tower push finally is successful from the Legion team. It says Ophelia came over there. Double damage, Wretched Hag and Silhouette, however. They're counter pushing the middle lane. We'll see what decision Stay Green makes here. They're still pushing that secondary tower at the bottom lane for the time being. Ports are coming in. There's 1 port at least. Emphasis here. Zephyr also joining the party. Gonna try to get a gust off, but the Legion team is just too far, and they'll be fine. Meanwhile, ports to the middle lane now. Silhouette wants to get the tower go, but at what cost right here? Root comes out. She is gonna split up. Wretched Hag may fall right here. The Spider Sting on the Silhouette. The real one after she split up, and down she goes. They did get the tower kill, but was it worth it? I don't know if it was.
Definitely not. Definitely not worth it. Silhouette's ulti down, not a big deal. Bat Blast will be up, but now they have a window here where maybe they can get a push going. They have the Keeper there. Ophelia's rotating, although I think by the time she actually reaches that mid lane, they will be alive, but they might just go for it anyway. The only Keeper is down, Arachnid Sting is down. I think they'll just wait till TP's are ready and then pull back.
Yeah, and so they're going to apply plenty of damage to this tower. You see the goo is down, but it's only level 2, so not necessarily doing the most. They're going to get it. I mean, that's going to be 2 tower kills as a result of that. And the 2 hero kills on top of that. So talk about a gold momentum swing. Holy crap, 4,400 gold lead and 2,400 experience lead all of a sudden for Stay Green.
Yeah, I misspoke. I didn't notice Zephyr's TP was on cooldown as well, so they actually couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, that was huge for Stay Green. So again, I noticed there too. I mean, Silhouette stood in there for at least another auto tech. Really wanted to finish off that tower. Maybe figuring that she could split up and be fine. But Keeper the Force was nearby. Obviously, he was invis though, so probably that was a case of them just not assuming that. But you always got to be careful about that, obviously. And we saw the end result. So
yeah,
it worked out beautifully for Stay Green. And also we got to see that Arachnid ultimate had come into play. I mean, even the level 1 of it, it goes on Silhouette, and she just moves so slow, and she's just locked down, and it's basically, it's a guaranteed kill, man, if there's no support nearby. I mean, 100%, so.
Yeah, that is an absurd amount of damage, honestly, looking at 750 at level 2 ulti.
1125 at level 3, that's what I was saying. 30-second cooldown, 1125 damage. That sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, it does, and he's going for that Geo's route again. I do like it. It's mostly for the damage output against this Hellborn team. And a little bit of kiting here and there helps to dispel some tag stuff. But he has Carapace, but it's mostly for the damage.
Yeah.
Also a good pushing tool.
Go on the Blessed Orb route first, though. I mean, what do you think about that? Because usually we see the Firebrand to help with the farming more so,
Yeah.
but I guess Blessed Orb for survivability. Maybe he wants to be involved in team fights, and actually right on cue, it looks like that is going to be the case. So perhaps that is the reason why going the Blessed Orb first.
Yeah, he also may have just wanted to buy the big purchase first because you can buy the Firebrand in smaller pieces.
True.
And if he's going to be involved, maybe he feels it's safer combined with the Ophelia heal, that extra tankiness. If they can't kill him, he gets all that turnaround and slow. He doesn't necessarily need the extra move speed to chase them down.
Yeah. So both teams do have good push potential, but the Legion team, man, Keeper and Ophelia leading the way, obviously. Big news. The Portakiana Pebbles, of course, absolutely huge there. We got a big team fight prune up here at the top lane. Zephyr's still level 10, so won't have a level 2 type of him. Look at Pebbles in the background. He is waiting for a prime jump opportunity. He has Nature's Veil currently on him, so he is going to be invis just in case, as I don't think there's any vision here on the Hellborn side. It doesn't look like it. No revs or bound eyes or anything like that. So in comes the next lane. Keeping the force has a Shaman's Headdress, by the way, so he's working on that barrier out. Of course, Astrolabe on Ophelia. Just look at all the minions, man, just destroying the creep wave of the Hellborn team. Granted, they do got solid creep clear potential, of course, but and it's a mind game, man, back and forth.
Breaky, do you see what's going on too again? Slick's giving Chessie control of that minnow, and he's got the four creep army.
You're right, yeah.
That's just potentially the beginning, so.
I love it. I love it. Good assistant. If you have an Ophelia in team, that makes Whispering Hope even that much more powerful, apparently, in the right hand. So it just gives Ophelia just another buff, because why the hell not, right? So. Yeah, you're right. That's actually pretty awesome. So they are going to push this top lane, and it'll easily fall. In the end, Trademark Esports realizes it's not worth defending, so the gold lead continues. Now, the experience lead has dropped a little bit, as you would kind of expect when a group up and push happens, but Stay Green is, I don't see why not. They're going to keep this going.
I think they're in a pretty good spot. PS Breaky, for a hero that quote-unquote can't farm, Arachna seems to be, contending for some of the highest CS and GPM in the game. So,
but it's Slicks. Come on, that's not fair.
I know. I'm just saying, once again, all people who like to comment that Arachna couldn't be used because she can't farm, You're
right. I mean, this is now, again, against some of the best competition, too. Complexity yesterday, and here we are against Trademark Esports, doing very, very well. Top tower, they pushed the secondary one pretty easily. They're already breaking into the base, man. I mean, look at the time. We're only 18 minutes in. That's a big thing to keep in mind here. This is only 18 minutes into the game, yet Stay Green is pressuring and heavily pressuring at that. This top tower, it looks like the Minotaurs. Oh, was that the one that was the Whispering Helm? No, it wasn't actually. The one that's controlled by Slicks is still alive, but it's behind. He's actually going to use it for a stun right there. I think it might get picked off in the end, so no more Whispering Helm Minotaur for now. But again, I think it's safe to say Stay Green, they got what they came for the most part, and they're just fine falling back. They're not too worried to rush things at this point.
Yeah, if they go for another push, that tower is low. I like the composure that tdM is showing. They're keeping up in experience. The game, Stay Green's playing this very well, but as is tdM, they're picking the right fights. They're trying to get built up on the heroes and know that they have the items they need to fight before they jump into a team like this with the Keeper heal, the Ophelia, the protective nature of an Arachna. They just want to jump in and suicide, so yeah, really tight play by them. Trying to find their window in the game, not just trying to force it.
Yeah, very, very true. And that's again a great point to bring up. I mean, tdM, you talk about perseverance. They know how to play from behind in games too. This is not a new situation for them. They've been down, especially to teams like Stay Green and Complexity early on like this many times, and they just hold their ground. They know not to panic, just hold your ground, get that recovery in there, and then eventually pull through in the end. So it's just about keeping that composure, as you put it, and that's definitely something that tdM is bringing to the table. So as good as it is for Stay Green that they have a comfortable lead early on, it's you can never be too pleased with it in the end. Barrier out, although, going to be finished on Keeper the Force. You do have the Firebrand just purchased on Arachna, so her Geometer Bane is definitely in the works here, and in fact just about finished. Other than that, I mean, of course, you got Pebbles, his situation. He's had that portal key now for a little bit. Glacius even got his Steam Boots, man. He's good to go. Master of Arms, on that note, so speaking of supports, Master of Arms is level 6 now finally, so that's something that tdM will gladly have here. And that Master's Call. Icebrand just finished on Zephyr, by the way, so going more of a little bit more of a battle build in that sense, but also continuing to be tanky.
Right,
It's just finished.
Well, they just want that turnaround potential. You know, if he gets an issue and doesn't get killed, buys time for Tempest to get a well-placed ultimate combined with that AoE of Zephyr and turn around the fight that way. And then all that they have to deal with the Zephyr then. And meanwhile, you know, they might get distracted with the Silhouette that's pounding in the auto attack damage. So
they were trying to find Wretched Hag up here, but of course with the well-placed Ward of Sights from Fitske, they easily see the Legion team trying to dive him. And he falls back in time. Look at this, though. Ophelia's going right behind the creep wave. They're just going to try to sneak into the base right here. Ports are already coming in, though. And that's going to mean you need to retreat pretty quickly, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Stay green, falling back, but almost as if they're trying to bait something out right here. Even the Nature's Veil going to be used on the Minotaur. He's throwing out the stun right there, and the Minotaur will be fine. So a little bit interesting and tricky play coming out from Stay Green, but nothing too much coming from it. What did I want to say? Oh, yeah, Silhouette. Silhouette, her Nullstone is actually on the way here. Well, just about finished. She has the Sustainer Blessed Arm. Needs 1,000 gold, of course, for the pattern. That is a pretty big item against a hero like Arachna, because she has no way other than her Spider Sting, obviously, to remove it. And the last thing you want to do is waste that Spider Sting on the Nullstone. So,
right.
There are plenty of other ways, of course, to get rid of it, but still. Or are there? Actually, there's not plenty. There's some, though. But
yeah, maybe a Skeleton King that... something like that, but you might want to save that for Tempest. So
yeah, so the Nullstone actually, I can see it being a pretty damn effective pickup here for Silhouette. Oh, there we go. The poor man's Portal Key going to be used on the Zephyr right there. Stalagmite's coming out. The Spider Sting is out deep at the Master's Call, but it's just so much damage. Barrier Auto coming out as well, and Zephyr will fall. The big Tempest ultimate actually not going to be stopped. Full duration. In comes the buyback from Zephyr. He has a Typhoon and not on off cooldown actually, so he will not be able to use that. Glacius is picked off. They're going to port back Arachna right here. I believe it will be in time. And now Ophelia running away. Can she TP out? She doesn't have a TP. She says, screw it, I'm dead. Go ahead and take me. As it ends up being a double tap for Noob G right there. But man, I mean, that was a crazy big Tempest ultimate coming out from my nuts right there for tdM. But in the end, again, they did force a buyback on a Zephyr at least.
Right, and we saw the power there. They did kill Zephyr, but meanwhile, they're pounding in tons of auto attacks, tons of time chasing him. Hag gets a perfect Bat Blast off as, you know, if they're putting in auto attacks, they're pretty much clumped up autoing him. The Typhoon's down, they're taking all the damage from the Cyclones, and then on top of that, that allows Tempest to go in and get a perfect Elemental Void off. Simply because their cooldowns are up, he has nothing to worry about. He caught the Keeper in it, so fantastic job by Minuts. Nice buyback coming out from Limp, and yeah, that was a very well played fight by tdM.
I love seeing the Chuck used like that, where you initiate with it, you just throw it. That was a long ass Chuck too. I didn't even know if it could go that far, but he threw him way back there. But yeah, the fact that it took so long to kill him and he was able to buy some good distance, as you put it, just bought enough time, if anything, for his team to react at least somewhat appropriately. So, but still, you know, you could argue who really came in on top there. Again, the buyback used on Zephyr obviously hurts, but tdM did get the kill, and you know, they pushed back Stay Green in the end. So I don't know. I mean, the more I'm looking at this too, trying to think about it, is there a clear cut in your mind of which team has the better late game if it comes down just to farm, or?
I mean, I feel like actually, yeah. I mean, I do feel like tdM does have. I mean, they have three anchors there. They have the Zephyr, they have the Silhouette, and they have the Hag. And not to say these heroes in Legion like Pebbles can scale into the late game as well. Arachna is obviously ahead of the curve, so she's gonna have more of an impact than these other heroes. But especially looking at the Zephyr and the Hag, they synergize so well in team fights together. I do think if the game goes on, that tdM does have a bit of a late game advantage. I do think forcing that buyback is huge, because if it gets to late game and they have no buyback on Zephyr, that's a huge deal. But yeah, it is kind of hard to say, but I do like tdM's late game, and tdM is known for ensuring the late game. I think they're one of the first teams to start doing the Zephyr plus another carry, instead of just using Zephyr as the sole carry for a team. So.
And something tells me, I mean, Stay Green kind of agrees with you, because even before, you know, trying to finish an item like a Shark Knight on a Arachna, I mean, they're already pushing once again. Look at that big barrier idol coming out right there. Massive creep wave. This tower will 100% fall. In fact, the vulnerability's coming out. Maybe not, actually. Wow. Pretty good stand there at the last second, and the tower actually will stay alive for now. I think, though, a Chuck from Pebbles might actually be able to kill it. It's only at 84 life, so it's very, very vulnerable, of course. But again, Trademark Esports, as we talked about, the composure's there, man. I mean, they know that they just need to hold their ground, take it easy. As there we see with the Chuck coming out, Glacius big time in the front lines. Not sure what Z-Freak is thinking. He's going to be picked off right there. Is a Typhoon even going to come out? And just like that, he falls. So they're going to vote to pause. So it kind of makes me wonder if maybe that was a disconnect issue there or something.
Strap pause. Maybe they're like, hey, we need to do this. We're slipping up our game. I'm not sure which one it is, but
Well, they did get the tower, but sacrificed a hero.
Well,
And
not worth the glacius. I mean, it is. It's nice, but still, that buys tdM more time because they're not going to go fight without one of their heroes. Elemental Void back up. What about the? Okay, the Zephyr did have to use his Typhoon, so.
and that's the more I'm thinking about it too. Honestly, the Legion team, the lack of damage is a little bit concerning here. You know, especially when you're dealing with a hero like a Zephyr and of course a Master of Arms support, especially. The utility of a hero like Wretched Egg being able to blink away from initiations. The lack of, just true damage. And on top of that, I mean, Arachna, sure, she has a Geometer's Bane Whispering Helm. It's solid damage, but, she is, it looks, I'm guessing she's going to follow this up, of course, with a Shrunken Head here. So still that direct damage output, not necessarily going to be the most threatening here from Stay Green's point of view.
Right. Pebble's working on his Shrunken Head. No real Hellflower to come out. Hellflower can be really effective against Zephyr because it stops a lot of that heal. It makes it a lot easier to initiate and kill him, but they're not really going to have one here for this Legion team either, which, will make it really hard. He is building pretty much straight tank as we've seen, so.
You mentioned Wretched Hag earlier. It doesn't seem like Zai's had the best game when it comes to farm. He's only 232 gold per minute. There is plenty of farm to spread around, so maybe it's not that surprising at the same time. But speaking of Hellflower, he still is well off his own, if that's even what he goes for at this rate. He does have 1,500 gold saved up, so could be very possible. Look at Tempest, though. Minus has been doing this a lot lately on Tempest. He just builds a very, very team fight-oriented Tempest. I mean, hell, not only has the Astrolabe played good, but even the Soul's Bulwark on top of the Ring of Sorcery. And I'm guessing that Mighty Blade going to be turning into his own Shrunken Head. So, a Soul's Bulwark on Tempest, man. We've seen this a couple times before from him.
And he's keeping it on positive. I mean, he just really wants that high armor, high turnaround potential. If they can't kill him, or the longer they take, that's more time for his carries of Zephyr with that massive AoE, the Hag Bat Blast, the Silhouette pumping out autos. It's more time in which his team gets to put out DPS, even if they kill him, even if he doesn't get the best ulti off. So
Slicks is 0-0-2 in hero kills. There's only been 8 kills total, 4 for each side. But he's farming nearly 500 gold per minute again, so that just goes back to the fact that this hero can farm in the right hands if you just know what you're doing. So, yeah, that's impressive. And speaking of Shrunken Head, it is actually very close to being finished on him, and another couple of creep kills. And he will have that. So, again, like I'm saying, I mean, that will be huge for him, no doubt, on top of the Heart and Care base especially. So, kind of having 2 tools in that sense to mitigate a lot of magic damage. But, is that ultimate damage output going to be there is the big question for me still. Will he have enough to... we did see the catch on the Zephyr wasn't up, but that was without really any team support for the most part. And then after the buyback, we saw what kind of happened. So he will be level 16, though, shortly on top of that. I mean, we talked about the Spider Sting and how much of an impact that helps. Not only is it just so much more damage, physical damage be it, but it's also now only a 30-second cooldown at level 16, which he hits right there. So there you go.
seems like perfect timing. He just got a Shrunken, he got the ulti.
Yep.
And Pebbles has his Shrunken, so I think if they're going to push here, unless they're waiting for a Hellflower on the Keeper, this is pretty much their moment. I don't think they're going Hellflower. I'm pretty sure they'll go Refresher, so...
Yeah, that's true. That Restoration Stone just so powerful on a Keeper of the Forest. Won't have that double ultimate. Wretched Hag up here. She is actually going to port back to base. Thought she might have been setting up with her team or something. But nope, she was farming. Decided to get the hell on out of there. As it was danger. So, and yeah, she isn't even going for a Hellflower route herself. I kind of hinted on that, you know, with the circumstances here. I don't know if she was going to be going for one. It looks like she is. Well, she purchases the Mighty Blade. Again, that doesn't mean she's going to rush now into the Shrunken Head, but
probably
still,
does, though.
Yeah. Probably. Stay green. So once again, grouping up. They got a lot of gold pooled up, and we do talk about this from time to time, how if you're going to be pushing into a base, it's a little bit risky to pull up so much gold as much as you are, with 2,000 gold nearly on a affiliate and Keeper of the Forest, but because buybacks aren't as impactful at least. But oh my God, Pebbles actually jumping in. Master of Arms going to be picked off right at the bat. He cannot buy back, so no Master's Call going to be coming out. Remember, that's just your support, though. But Spider Sting going to be used on Tempest right there, actually. It's going to be killed fairly quickly from the helper team. But Rue coming out onto Tempest and everyone else. That Tempest ultimate, though, pulling him, but a freeze immediately coming out. Tempest will fall. Zephyr still in the front lines. Everyone is still alive, though, for Sting. Going to make that one down in Glacius, it looks like, as Tempest does buy back, by the way. Again, no ultimate. Wretched Egg blinking in, though. Zephyr with the Gust Void. Arachna, you're going to use the Heart and Care Praise. Gonna try to pound an auto attacks, but she needs to run away, actually. She's gonna be chained down by Tempest right here. The support's not gonna be enough. The Stalagmites at the last second gonna be ported back. Oh, will be ported back right as Ophelia was dying. She ported back Arachna, and Arachna will survive as a result. Another pretty crazy team fight. So, kind of like last time, though. I mean, tdM, they fight back strong, but they did have to use a buyback again.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. The major thing that fight is actually you got to bait the Typhoon coming out from Zephyr at pretty much no cost. I mean, they had a Shrunken Head Pebbles that initiated. The Typhoon went down. He pretty much just walked out, and it was fine. So another fight with that Typhoon ultimate being better placed, they might have a lot more of an impact. They did force a buyback on Tempest, and forcing those buybacks is very important because, as we saw there, they have the ability to pick heroes off. But we'll have to see.
Shout out to Ace Jr. right there, S2 Games new community manager. Good guy indeed, giving us a shout out. So. Works both ways. 30 minutes into this game, though, it is now a 6-6 hero kill game. I know. Again, the hero kills might not be the most, but again, we got really two of the best teams in Heroes of New Earth right now. And Stay Green versus Trademark Esports. So the grand finals of the GSL qualifiers. Number 1 here for the North American European region. A trip to Thailand is on the line for that $60,000 prize pool event to compete in. Definitely a big deal here, and these two teams really want that prize, of course. So. Giving it their all, and this continues to be just a very close game as expected. I mean, really, these two teams have been doing this a lot lately. Sure, tdM in the end may have their Stay Green's number when it comes to series victories, but there always seem to be at the very least close games. And another one of those right here. Arachna, her farm just continues to be crazy up there, 515 now and counting. Interested to see where he goes. I know you mentioned yesterday something like the Wingbow possibility. Do you see that here?
It is very possible. I mean, she'd go the shield breaker route, but yesterday she winded up going for, I might be mistaken, but I think she went for the symbol afterwards.
Yeah, you're right, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what he goes with today. I think both routes could be okay. He might want that symbol just so he doesn't have to, when he gets low HP, force around and turn around in team fight, so he can just stay there. You'll see the Refresher Keeper coming out. Maybe he just wants to be able to stand up there in the front and pound out those auto attacks.
Yeah.
I'm not really too sure what he'll wind up doing.
That's true. Yeah, he definitely went the symbol yesterday, and Slicks loves to go that item in general, so
he's getting close to it too, man.
He is 2,700 gold saved up, and obviously that would increase his life pool quite a bit, as well as giving him that on-use effect. So, but again, as I still go back, they ultimately have enough damage is the biggest concern. But you know, you could argue staying alive longer, of course, ultimately returns more damage. So. They're going to easily push the bottom tower. That's the last outer tower that was remaining here for Trademark Esports.
Yeah.
As they're trying to counter push a little bit themselves, the Silhouette at least, but she's going to start falling back. Some big item pickups have been recently purchased, by the way. Level 2 Shield Breaker on Silhouette. The Frostburn finished on Zephyr. And there's the Restoration Stone being right-clicked by Keizu on that Keeper of the Forest. So
he's close to 16 as well. That little 16 plus the... the refresher, that's going to give him, 8 seconds of lockdown versus 3. So definitely huge buff in teamfight potential there as well.
Now, something we saw last fight, again, I definitely want to bring up is the Spider from Arachna, the Spider Sting. Against great teams, obviously tdM definitely one of those. We did see that last fight. It was used on Tempest initially. It got killed fairly quickly. It really did. They seemed to focus fire pretty well. But at the same time, it still does plenty of slow and still a good amount of damage, and it sets up the initiation, if anything. So
exactly.
Even if it gets killed, it's still a very powerful tool. Congore's happening, though. We could have a big fight coming up right here. Pebbles invis to the front count. They're going to look to jump in. There's a slow in his effort. There's that combo on a Tempest in the meantime. Ophelia coming out. Master's Call going to be used on a Tempest. He's sitting his ground. He does have a Void Talisman, by the way, with the Spider on him. But now the Tempest ultimate. No, Freeze coming out immediately, though. Tempest will fall when it's all said and done. Zephyr trying to set his ground. Bat Blast in the background. Arachna's still on the run. Can she survive? No, she cannot. Keeper of the Forest realizing he's in trouble, too. He already double rooted there, apparently. Ophelia's still alive. Arachna bought back, by the way. He ports into the secondary tower, but can he get here in time? I don't think he can. Pebbles is on the run. Arachna's finally here. Her Spider Sting is going to be up shortly. Wretched Egg will fall, actually, as now Pebbles taking the damage, but it's just too much. The Gust going to barely miss right there, it looks like, on Arachna. And finally, the fight will be over. Hat-trick coming out for Limp. Glacius actually able to port out at the last second. Conqueror still has a fairly low life, but neither side looking to go for it just yet. But a buyback used on Slicks right there. I don't know if a whole lot came of that, unfortunately.
Yeah, they invested way too much there into that Tempest kill, because in the end he got the Void Talisman, he got his ulti off, and then his ulti didn't get canceled because he got killed. His ulti got canceled because of another interrupt coming out. I think maybe from that keeper route.
Freeze.
So in the end, it's like all that focus fire, all that damage they put into Tempest was basically 100% to tdM's benefit because that gave their carries free reign of the fight. And Tempest got his ulti off, and they had to interrupt it normally anyway. So even if he was at full HP.
We do actually have a pretty big fight coming up right here. Arachna is going to start falling back as is Pebbles. There's a bound eye on the ground that was stopped from Glacius, I believe, as they killed him. But I think that's going to be the end of the fight. But yeah, you're right. I mean, they did invest a lot. But how about that Void Talisman pickup on Tempest? That proved to be very effective there against that initiation.
It did. I wonder if they noticed it. I feel like SG did not notice the Void Talisman because going into it, I mean, everything they poured into him, the Spider Sting, the Pebbles initiation, that's your long cooldown. It's 20 seconds, right, before you can get those Stalagmites back up again for a full combo.
Yeah.
The Spider Sting, everything they invested was basically useless on Tempest.
Yep. Very true, very true. So big props to Tempest right there for going that Void Talisman route. Proved to be very effective right off the bat. Now, Trademark Esports, talk about starting to take control of the game. I think that started to happen after that team fight because now you have a token of life on a Silhouette, also finishing her level 3 shield breaker, by the way. Doesn't have the portal key just yet, so I'm sure Trough wouldn't be too happy, but perhaps that's next in line here for Noob G. Zephyr, on the other hand, barbed armor finish. Could possibly even see something like a Barrier Rattle on him too at this rate, but a lot of big items starting to be picked up on the Hellborn side. There was something to just purchase on the Legion side. What was it? It's being delivered to Arachna. It is a, oh, there you go, Dancing Blade. So he is going to be going that Wingbow route, as it looks like Zai timing out right there. So double vote to pause coming out. But not going the Symbol of Rage, kind of feeling like maybe needs a little bit more damage here. And going to go the evasion route with the Wingbow, looks like. I'm guessing, at least. Maybe
there are 3 heroes without buybacks, and that's pretty much only thing SG has really going for them right now. The game has turned around in momentum, in my opinion. The Arachna pretty much being the sole source of sustained damage output coming out of the Legion team, meaning if their initiation doesn't take out enough heroes, and if the Hellborn's able to whittle down that Arachna in spite of the Hardened Carapace, in spite of the Shrunken Head, that means they'll pretty much guaranteed to win the fight.
Yeah.
And they have 3 heroes that are pretty much capable of doing it. Not as much the Hag right now, but even him, he has a pretty low cooldown in the Sonar Scream. He is going for more of that Shrunken Head route, and then you have the Zephyr and the Silhouette to worry about. Zephyr also with barbed armor and the Windshield. You might forget about that, but it does redirect range attacks. So he's attacking Arachna every time he takes damage. Like, not every time, but 15% of the time.
That's really true. Again, that's kind of one of the just subtle abilities, as I like to call them, where you don't really think about it when focusing a hero like Zephyr, perhaps, but it definitely is happening. So, kind of like the counter attack from Swiftblade. Can actually be pretty useful. So, I was going to say Ophelia. I was honestly expecting a Storm Spirit on Ophelia here by now, especially with this being Stay Green, but of course the combination of Storm Spirit and Ophelia is pretty damn powerful. Going the Abyssal Skull, though, first. Again, not that that's bad by any means, but again, the Storm Spirit is a very powerful tool, and I'm not picking it up just yet, though. Something tells me it could be coming next, though, for her. Yeah,
maybe. I think it's because they were just actively pushing, and they wanted that extra damage, extra team fight, because even if they, Storm Spirit TP'd someone back home, then, I mean, their team's going to get mopped up anyway, maybe they thought. So, yeah, just going for more of that team fight first.
Yeah. Looks like Zai got the good old blue screen of death, apparently. Hopefully, they'll just get back on, though, and resume here with game number 1. But no doubt this pause is also kind of that point of, really where the momentum is starting to swing in favor of Trademark Esports. What is game number 1? Again, this is a straight-up best-of-3 series here. As you can see on your screen, we're being 0-0 right now. So, but Trademark Esports, no doubt, getting the momentum on their side. It's not to say it's a victory by any means for them just yet, but still got to be feeling pretty good about where they are at this point. And, Master of Arms, critique on him earlier on was that he was getting completely underleveled, but look at that, he's now 2 levels higher than Glacius, and of course having that level 2 Master's Call now, so good for him. I will say Zai DCing right there, he kind of continues to struggle in the sense of items at least, but he has landed some pretty damn good Bat Blasts, so it's not like he's struggling with his play by any means.
Right.
Which is good.
The AoE, once again, the combination with they're chasing Zephyr, they're trying to go on Tempest. When they're putting in those auto attacks, they're sort of standing still. Well, not standing still, but they're really clumped up in a sense, and that really does set up for a good Bat Blast coming out from Zai. And the AoE damage and the slow combined with the slow from Typhoon just provides them with a lot of crowd control. It allows Zephyr to move around the fight really easily and do what he needs to do. So
Zephyr 5-1-6 currently. Silhouette 3-1-7. Some impressive hero kill stats starting to shape up here for the Hellborn side as well. So again, this is game number 1. We are loading back in with Zai here, it looks like. So I'm going to be resuming here very shortly, of course, and looking forward to continuing on, of course, and what was a very anticipated matchup here. Again, obviously with this tournament beginning on Monday with the 16-team tournament, it goes to really remind you how quickly this happened. But no doubt these two teams perhaps the favorite by a lot of people going into it, and sure enough, meeting up here in the finals. But who would actually win it? It's definitely the big question mark. I could see that being fairly close to even 50-50 if we were to do a poll. So, okay, he's back in. Once they're good. Okay, it looks like Trademark Esports is good to go though, and let's get it on indeed. So here we are, resuming the game. Pebbles kind of running up right here. But not going to look to do anything too crazy. Granted, Silhouette is somewhat pushing up here with Tempest. I want to be a little bit careful about that. Has a token of life and also his ultimate, of course, but still you don't want to waste it by any means. It's going to fall back before anything too dangerous happens. But actually, Trademark Esports, they are also kind of grouping up themselves. Going to steal some Ancients. There is still about 4.5 minutes, even more than that, remaining on the token of life for Silhouette, so they don't necessarily need to get into anything just yet. As Arachna sending in a couple of illusions right there, kind of scaring them a bit, but again, not the biggest steal in the world. Pebbles nearby. He's currently in Viz, though. Does he find any jump opportunities? The question now. He will have Nature's Veil on him for another 20 seconds here, as long as he hugs those trees. But nope, nothing going to come with that for the time being. And looks like tdM just going to go ahead and fall back for now. Get even bigger and better at this point.
Yeah, I think they know that they're in a very good spot right now. Minot's to pick up the Void Talisman, as you mentioned. He's still working on a Shrunken Head, so having 2 avenues of protection. If he does opt to finish it, he might not, but I'd expect that's what he's going next. Silhouette has the PK gold, and
yeah, well, what I want to get this from you, Emperor. What is your opinion on PK and Silhouette? Are you adamant as Trelf is?
I'm not as adamant, but I think the hero has a very strong skill set that benefits greatly from that PK. One way to look at it. I mean, he does have swap, which it is definitely very useful, and a lot of the times it is definitely the route to go. I think there are situations where, there is room for other builds, and especially when Slicks is going for his Whispering Helm build, I think maybe it has less of a place there, but especially when you go the Nullstone route, I feel like PK is just usually what you want to do here. You do see all the lockdown and slow coming out of these fights, though, coming out from the the Zephyr and the Hag and the Tempest. So he doesn't really seem like he's needing to get in there and put out the auto attacks. He seems like he's doing just a fine job right now. So at this point, maybe more damage is fine.
Yeah, I could definitely see that. I mean, he currently does have 2,900 gold and counting, just over 3,000 now. So Noob G continuing to farm very, very well, of course. By the way, on that note, the recent stat article came out. I believe it came out yesterday. Big shout out to Fantasy for putting all of it together. I did actually gather a lot of the stats, but he put it together, made it look pretty. Noob G, though, out of the top 12 teams in Han Tour through 5 cycles, Noob G has the best kill to death ratio in all the top 12 teams. It was something like 3.24, I want to say, which is, for one, I mean, that's just crazy to think through all of Han Tour, through all these top tier matchups, to be a 3.24 KD. But on top of that, he was only one of 3 players in total that was above 2 KD. And it just really started to drop off after that. So yeah, he was a very impressive KD ratio from Noob G throughout Han Tour. So it kind of shows the fact that, again, how good of a player he actually is.
Right, and also goes in fact to the fact that his team is the one winning.
Yep. There's that too. Oh, here we go though. The poor man's Budokai checking his Zephyr once again. Barbed Armor coming out though right away. And they're going to stop initiation to follow. But look at, he's already at half life. And Arachna panic, plenty of damage. And Arachna will get the kill on Zephyr. Zephyr cannot buy back, actually. This is prime time for Stay Green. Wretched off to the side, going to activate that Shrunken Head. The hasted Pebbles are running around. Going to lock him down. In goes the Bat Blast. They kill Glacius. The Tempest ultimate. Oh, it is going to be killed by the rear right there. The second root already was used. Tempest going to fall in the meantime, despite that Void Talisman. And now Silhouette realizing that she needs to start falling back. Again, no buybacks coming up from the Hellboy team. Right now, it's a 2-for-1 exchange in favor of Stay Green. And they are going to start breaking into the base. There's the buyback on the Tempest, though. That is his final buyback. And it looks like Stay Green is going to be fine retreating from this. That was, I think, the first time that they've been fighting at their base, honestly, that I feel Stay Green actually won the fight.
It was, and yeah, excellently played by SG, and tdM did what they could there. I saw that for a little bit they got split up. I thought maybe they could have gotten one extra kill. Six was sort of isolated up on top. He wound up using his Shrunken Head, thinking his team was going to be able to follow up and get more damage off, or maybe another keeper route, but you know, maybe the portal key was... Actually, he doesn't have a portal key. That would have something to do with it. So, yeah, they just weren't able to get that follow-up lockdown. So the entire duration of Slick's Shrunken Head actually did not get put to use there, but it didn't really matter. They got the kill. They got what they came for. And more importantly, Tempest does not have buyback. So they're now walking on much thinner ice.
That is a big deal. Stressed that earlier as buyback here and there was happening. Started with Zephyr, then Tempest, and this is, you know, the point that you were making. Here we are now, 40 minutes into this game, and sure, tdM still has their favorites going on, but if Tempest gets picked off, he ain't buying back. Zephyr and Wretched Hag are at the 1 out of 2 points as well, so always got to be questionable about that. But now, you know, on the other side of the spectrum, Arachna is also down a buyback, as is Pebbles. But I feel like, you know, that's not as big of a deal for Stay Green, simply because they're the ones that continue to be the aggressors. And as we stress, you know, if you're going to be pushing in, the buyback isn't as significant as it would be as if you're defending the base. But Arachna's farm, at this rate now, with finishing the Wingbow, I can safely assume, you know, now that Symbol of Rage is very possible here from Arachna. And actually, that's the other thing I wanted to stress about that last fight, Emperor, was when they chucked in Zephyr and they started the initiation, he used the Barbed Armor right away, as you would expect, but everyone at Stay Green seemed to stop at that point. They did a very good job of actually not focusing fire when that Barbed Armor was up. And as soon as it fell off, you know, they finished him off. So definitely, you know, props to Stay Green for, again, just keeping that in mind and knowing how to deal with it. So
now Keeper does have his PK. I mentioned last fight, and he does have his PK now, going to help a lot with the positioning of that ultimate. Also, Pebbles, and this is very important, he did start building up his Hellflower, and it's reaching that stage of the game with one more good team fight, a little bit of map control, and he will get a Hellflower that'll help their initiation a ton. Stop things like a Void Talisman from coming out as well.
Yep. That is very true. The Tablet of Command on Ophelia, so not going that Storm Spirit route once again. Gonna get just more assistance for the team in that sense. But yeah, the Portal Key on Keeper of the Forest, obviously that is enormous here for Stay Green, not only with the double root already happening, but yeah, now that I think about it, you kind of surprised you too. He doesn't have the Portal Key yet. That actually makes sense why, but now he does have one. So
I was talking to Dirge Snoopy yesterday of the Old Fray team. I think I might have mentioned, but we were actually talking about Tablet, and he thinks a lot of times people overrate Storm Spirit, saying they think it's a little bit too overpowered, and it really isn't that bad in his mind. And he thinks a lot of times Tablet is the better buy, even in the later games. So some games he's like, why are they buying Storm Spirit? They should be getting Tablet.
To be fair, obviously we see a lot more Tablets than Storm Spirits.
It's true.
But yeah, in the later game, yeah, it seems like Storm Spirit does, especially again with the Ophelia combination, I think is what really does it. But you know, again, obviously you can never say, oh, why'd you go Tablet? Here we go, though, initiation on a Tempest right there, the Chuck coming out, but no follow-up. The Stalagmites couldn't really land. Again, the Void Talisman used once again right there. And Tempest will be fine for now. The bottom push is happening. Well, I guess there's just illusions down here, but some illusions applying pressure here at the bottom lane. But the Legion team, what's being delivered to Slicks? Okay, Axe to the Malphite. So no similar H finish, but he does have 2,400 HP. Savage Mace just finished by Silhouette, though. She is all in that sense. She does have 2 buybacks, but no gold for buybacks now. You got to wonder if Stay Green notices that. And again, definitely being a great team, you can assume that they do. That maybe she doesn't have that buyback money, so keeping that in mind.
Probably pretty he needs that to pierce Arachna's, Wingbow. Also, he's probably pretty confident in his positioning with Silhouette, with an Allstone, with the Shadow that he can get out of whatever Stay Green has to offer, maybe retreating to base if he needs to heal. So I think Savage Mace was a fine pickup. They don't really want to risk losing, the first stage of these fights.
Well, Arachna gets ported back by Ophelia, and that's the signal for the rest of the team to fall back as well, of course. So, again, they feel that. I'm guessing that they really want to just finish this similar rage here on Arachna at least. Obviously, having the Ux in the Malphite is nice for your life, but yeah, finishing the similar rage, though, maybe getting a Hellflower finished on Pebbles. He has the 1 Arcana. So definitely a Hellflower on him could be very useful. And now there's the similar rage, but also this does buy time for a Shrunken Head to actually be finished on Tempest. So he does have that. Now remember, you cannot use both at the same time.
Right, and Pebbles is getting close to Hellflower.
Yep.
So that could nullify both the Void Talisman and the Shrunken Head if they allow him time to grab it.
Mm-hmm.
Another impact of them pushing top lane and then sending Arachna back to go farm is they actually do force tdM's team to retreat into the base, slow down the amount of control how much of the map they're actually farming, because when they're in their base, obviously they only have a couple lanes to farm there as they're setting up for positioning. So it's a way of controlling farm as well.
Oh, here we go, the initiation. Oh, he chucks the creep though, and now Pebbles in no man's land right here. The 4 Commanding going to come out. He will be fine at the end. A stun going to happen on Arachna actually in the front grounds, coming up from Tempest. So are they going to follow this up? The Stalagmites on to Zephyr. Zephyr now pushing up the Spider Steam coming out. He can start back in, and here we go. Barbed Armor going to be activating time for gun out. The first root gun out for Game of the First, but Zephyr will fall. The similar range from Arachna helping the Tempest ultimate off to the side. It is going to lock in a couple heroes, but there's not the most follow-up damage. Silhouette is here, but she's going to pour down. Master Bars will fall. There's the second root. The real Silhouette still alive, but minus there on Tempest. He will fall as well. 4 players are dead just like that for tdM. Stay Green has everyone alive, and I think, is it? They're going to start pushing. Oh, Zephyr does buy back. That's his final buyback too, so it's not over just yet.
No, you're right. Actually, no, Silhouette was up. I didn't notice the Zephyr buyback for a second. I'm actually glad maybe they can put up a defense here.
Yeah, so they still got something, but it is just them two at the same time, so even as powerful as they are, they're just two. In fact, here we go. Pebbles going to initiate right there. Again, the Barbed Armor, but the Spider Sting applied, and Zephyr is doing his best to cut away, but it just isn't enough. He will fall. Silhouette in the background. He's going to tap it away, but GGs are called, and there you go. Stay Green will officially win the first game against Trademark Esports, and as a result, they are now up 1-0, just like that. Again, we had plenty of fights there at the end, honestly, but just like that in a big fight where that was kind of an awkward initiation. I mean, remember how that started where Pebbles jumped in, he chucked a creep on accident. He was going for Zephyr, and then he started falling back, and then Tempest stunned another hero, and it was kind of like a little bit slow in the beginning. But then all of a sudden it picked up, and it seemed like Stay Green, they really
right, and then the Symbol of Rage, I think, was the biggest pickup that fight. It is pretty much a direct counter to Barbed Armor. I mean, he's healing pretty much as much as he puts out, so he didn't get affected. He was able to focus down that Zephyr very quickly, able to retarget and still have full life, so you didn't actually have to back up. The more life you have, obviously you don't have to worry about running away. You get to sit there and stand your ground and put out the DPS, so a damage item in its own right.
I noticed that as well, yeah, very good point to bring up. I mean, having that similar rage, it's like, you got a Barbed Armor, that I could care less, and that's exactly what he did, just kept on pounding in the damage, and I love, Slicks does this, man. He plays these heroes that, especially in these carrier roles, Swiftblade's the other example that he's been doing a couple of times lately, where just plays it so well, though, and it's just so much fun to watch. But again, this Arachna pickup, not a hero we see on the competitive scene ever. Back-to-back days now. Yesterday against Complexity, today against Trademark Esports in the Grand Finals. Making it work. You got to appreciate ballsy picks right there. That definitely work out. So, well, Emperor, I think we need a break here. That was a crazy game. So,
yeah, a little short break, and yep,
we'll be coming back. So with that said, we're going to go into a break here, ladies and gentlemen. But again, just a short break. Tell your friends. We got a great series here going on. We got Stay Green taking on Trademark Esports. This is the GSL Qualifier #1 Grand Finals. Who's going to be going to Thailand and competing for a $60,000 prize pool? Well, stay tuned and find out.